Welcome to createwithchristine.com and my first ever online video tutorial. Today we're going to be making this card. On my blog I've listed all of the supplies you need to create it and follow along with me. If you get lost and you have any other questions, feel free to give me an email at createwithchristine@msn.com. Okay, let's get started. We're going to want to take your large piece of white daisy cardstock right here, and this stamp set that we're using is the stamp of the month this month for March, and it's a relatively large set. So what we're going to want you to do is stick down a piece of foam, put your piece of cardstock on there. Now yours will be blank. I just went ahead and did some of the extra work so you don't have to sit and wait. And you're going to want to go ahead and fit your stamp right on there, ink it up with a little bit of black ink, and stamp it down. Make sure you get a nice solid image. If you mess up, don't worry, you can pull it right off and put it back down again to make sure you get a nice solid image. And then once you've got your image on there, take your markers and go ahead and color in your flowers your favorite color. I've used our Petal, Blush, Hollyhock, and Sweet Leaf. And then what we're going to do to kind of jazz up the outside of this is we're going to use our chocolate distressing inks, which come in our distressing kit, or you can purchase them as a set of 2 by themselves. And you're just going to want to swipe the edges, and I do it kind of at an angle. You can see I'm adding some ink to the edges just like that. And so this piece is done. We're going to go ahead and have you set that aside. Now you want to go ahead and do exactly what you just did, but now you're going to cut out some of the pieces of the flower. I've gone ahead and left one piece not cut, and I'm going to show you a little trick to getting nice smooth edges. You want to actually move the piece of paper around your scissors instead of moving your scissors, and try to do a solid line, a nice steady cut. The more you have to open your scissors and close them, the more jagged your edges are going to be. So a nice clean cut and you'll have those nice smooth edges. Just like that. And if you notice, we left out the little dots at the end because we're going to stick this down. This is going to give us a raised flower. You also want to go ahead and color in this flower. Again, I left just a little bit of an area so I can show you how to color it in. Now, just kind of going back to school and coloring in, but I find that if I keep nice straight lines again and overlap over each other, hope you can see that, but I don't try to go back and forth too much. Once you let it dry, it tends not to look so blotchy, so you can see that I just recently colored this. And we want to fill in this little dot right here, and this flower is ready. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create this raised flower here. And what I did was I went ahead and used our zig glue, and I did just a section in the middle so that the flower is going to stick down there. And I also used some foam dots. Now, Close to My Heart does sell foam dots, but you can also get them at your local office supply, and oftentimes they're quite a bit cheaper. Now, they're not listed as archival quality, so it's up to you whether or not you choose to use them in your scrapbooks. I do, but that's just a personal preference of mine. It's not a big deal to me. So then we're just going to stick this flower down just like this. And we're going to just glue the edge here of this flower. We're going to glue that one down there. That allows the edges of the flower to kind of pop off the page, and you can even fold it a little bit more. So you want to make sure your thing's all nice and stuck down. And then you're going to want to take that textured piece of cardstock, and this is our blush from our Winter Cozy collection. And what I've done is I've just torn an edge off, just like this, and by tearing it towards you, you're going to get the white edge. If you tore it the opposite direction, you'd get a solid edge. So now you just tear off about 1/4 of an inch on the end. Again, take that distressing ink and just kind of go around the edges so that it all goes together. You can either go a lot or a little, it's your preference. There's no wrong way to duplicate something. So we'll just do that. And then we're going to start assembling the card. What'll take you the longest on this card is actually cutting out that flower and coloring it, but I promise you the results in person are wonderful. If you're wondering what this big thing is I'm using, this is my ATG gun. It's relatively cheap with the adhesive, so for scrapbookers who like to scrapbook a lot or people who like to make lots of cards, it's a great alternative. So then you want to go ahead and stick this down just like that, and then because it's all popped up, you could actually go ahead and have glued it on before you stuck the pop dots on. But I'm just going to go ahead and add some adhesive here. Stick it on down, just like that. And then you saw we had the word friend on there. So again, we're going to go ahead and pull out the foam piece. I lay it down, and I've got the word friend on my acrylic block. I'm going to ink it up with my ink, just like this. You can see it's nice and covered. And this one's going to take a little bit of talent, but I promise you, if you practice, you'll get it. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and set it down, give it a good deal of pressure since we have several different heights on that page, and pull it up. So now we've got the D that's off kind of on the edge, so what I've done to give a little bit of oomph on the inside is open it up, and I see my edge of my D, and oftentimes I go ahead and stick something down on top of the card so that it stays where I want it to while I'm working. And with the acrylic, I can go just right over that line, and now I've got the word friend on the inside as well. Embellish it up with a little ribbon, and I also keep my ribbon always on the spool while I'm trying to tie it. It lets me decide how big I want my bows. I'm never stuck with not enough and having to recut, so just go ahead and do this. Tie a little knot. Sorry, trying to get it in the right hand so you guys can see it right. And then I just do a loop this way, and then depending on what way you want your bow, I want my bow to go that direction, so I'm going to go over, pull it over, and pull it up this way. Tighten it, and right now it doesn't look that great, but go ahead and get it nice and tight. Then pull it so you get your bows kind of where you want them. Pull it again, and I use my thumbs as a good guide. So just a little bit of a tug. And with a little bit of work, you can get that bow even better. Trim off the ends. And you've got a darling little card.